Making plans for Nigel. This boy is electric.
Good morning, everyone. It's 5:30 on a Sunday morning, and we are cruising along the A47 nice and gently, heading up towards Lincolnshire, going for a dog show today. Interesting point that I thought I'd share with you along our journey is the difference between when you're doing this sort of journey in the winter and the difference when it's spring or summer, etc., and range calculation, because I'm sure it can catch a few people out if they just get used to doing a certain thing or if they trust the car. For example, the EGolf here, we did 5 miles per kilowatt hour just the other day. So the range on the car, on the GOM, said 152 miles when we set off. But that's based on the 32 kilowatt hour battery that it's got, times 5, which is 160 miles. So somewhere in there, that last journey has influenced the GOM to say 150 miles. Now, coming out at 5:30 in the morning, it's slightly wet on the road. The temperature is, I don't know, what does it say, Susan, 7 or 8 degrees? Oh, it says 10 degrees. My goodness, that's a bit above what I was expecting. The conditions are going to be different to what we did, and we're going faster, even though it appears we're going quite slow. The last journey that we got 5 miles per kilowatt hour was through the city centre, averaging 25 miles an hour sort of thing. Now we're going to be averaging 45 miles an hour. So the average miles per kilowatt hour is definitely going to be down, so the range is going to be down. So you can't believe what the car says, and yeah, I'm sure some new people with electric cars will just think you get in a car and the range is what it says on the car, and it's not. It is just a guess. It's just a guess-o-meter. That's the range that it tells you. In fact, the Golf is now saying 129 miles, and yet we've only done a few miles from setting off from home. So yeah, it's starting to adjust already. So the 152 is no longer relevant. 129 is looking a bit more relevant. And we're averaging 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Again, times 32 kilowatt hours of usable battery is 90, 105, call it 110 miles. So 129 is still quite optimistic. And that's the thing that you have to do with electric cars. You have to do all this extra planning and all this extra calculation, thinking, what if and maybe. So again, the reason for the video is to explain what we're going to do charging wise to try and help those people that are new to electric cars that want some ideas for how to go about your charging strategies and your planning. And quite simply, we've checked on the maps yesterday as to what chargers we can use and where they are, and we've got a host of options. If the miles per kilowatt hour over the next 30-40 miles looks like summer miles and we start to creep up more towards 140 mile range, then we could go all the way to our destination and do about 110 miles and charge up there. But if the range of the car is quite close to that 110, there's no way I'm going to want to judge getting there, and will we make it, won't we make it, and will we have a mile or two spare, all that sort of thing, because you do not want to risk running out. So the calculation I always do is I look at the journey, I look at the miles per kilowatt hour that I think we're going to achieve, and I work out how many kilowatt hours are we going to have to add for the journey. Just how much energy do we need to complete the journey there and back, in addition to what's already in the car, which was 100%. And from that point, all we need to do is add that energy, and it does not matter where you add the energy. It could be in 5 miles time, 20 miles time, 50 miles time, 100 miles time. It doesn't matter at all. So you don't have to wait until you get to your destination to fill up. You can fill up anywhere that's convenient. If you happen to be passing a charger and you feel like stopping for a coffee, or you forgot something, you want to buy something from a shop, or you need a comfort break, that's the time to add a little bit of the charge, because it's no inconvenience, and you're adding that kilowatt hour energy that you need for your journey, and it should give you a clue as to how much more you need to add at some point for the journey. And if you're keeping track of how much energy you're adding and how much energy you need, then you know you've got to stop again. So for me, tracking how much energy we need to use for the journey is my way of working out our charging strategy. And as I said, this morning we're aiming for a charger in Spalding but if the miles per kilowatt hour increases above what it currently says 3.7, if we get into the 4s, do you know, we might go all the way to Colsterworth near Grantham and charge up there on the Instavolt chargers. There's a new bank of chargers there. So that'll be 110 miles, which will leave the Golf with not too many miles if we're only averaging, you know, just up to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. So it depends how the efficiency goes. And now it started raining. It's yeah, perhaps we'll be doing that early charge. So our strategy is, we've planned 3 charges, one at Kings Lynn, one at Spalding, and one all the way at our destination in Colsterworth, Grantham. And we'll choose which one seems appropriate as we get closer to it and as we track what the miles per kilowatt hour is. And that way we haven't made a decision up front, we'll adjust according to the conditions. Anyway, I just thought I'd share what we're actually doing and how we're going about the calculation. And yeah, well, when you guys wake up, I hope you have a really nice day and the weather is a bit better than we're experiencing over here in Norfolk. And these are the numbers for our calculated journey. 27 kilowatt hours to be added, public charging along the way somewhere. But don't forget to add some contingency, because it's never nice arriving home or arriving at your destination with no miles left at all. Okay, time for a quick update. We're 42 miles an hour average, 33 miles into our journey, 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, and it's been on 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour for quite a while now, so that does appear to be the average we're going to get, which gives the car a range of about 120 miles. We're just coming up to our first Instavolt charger. We're blessed in Norfolk with lots of reliable, fast Instavolt chargers, and yeah, it's far too early for us to charge, so we're going to go past. But I've been tracking the difference between the miles left to our destination, which currently says 75, and the miles left of range on the car, which says 94 at the moment. So that is a difference of, is that 19 miles? 19 miles difference, and I've been tracking that difference for a while, and it was 23, 22, 21, 20, so gradually we're getting less and less range on the car. The guessometer is adjusting and gradually giving us a more accurate reading to the actual miles per kilowatt hour that we're doing. So when we first set off, it looked like we had 40 miles of spare range, because obviously it was still on summer weather or on our 5 miles per kilowatt hour journey. Now it's only saying we've got 19 miles of spare range, and yet if I use the calculation of 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, we're actually only going to have 10 spare by the time we get there. So this is where you've got to understand your car and know that the guessometer isn't quite accurate, and start to get used to your car. Is it lying to you all the time? Is it overestimating? Is it underestimating? And don't leave it until the last minute to charge. You know, unless you really love playing the game, will I make it or won't I make it? But then you're just adding stress that you don't really need. Or fun, whichever way you're actually thinking about it. So for us, we've got 74 miles to go until we get to Colsterworth, and the car says 93 miles of range. Plenty. That's 10 spare, but 10's quite low. So again, we might stop en route just to add a few more, just in case. Because what if Colsterworth's not working? What if we can't get a charge? What if we need to move on and find another charger somewhere else? Where is the next closest charger to Colsterworth? And do we have to go up and down the A1 a little bit to find that charger? Is it worth the hassle of just not stopping and adding a few kilowatt hours extra just to make sure we're safe? So that's the decision-making process as we go. It always seems to work out this way. It's never quite enough. It's never, oh, we've got loads and loads, we don't need to charge. It's always, will we or won't we? There's always a decision to be made. And I guess that's the difference between us having an EGolf with 120-mile range on a day like today and having a Kona electric like I used to, where we wouldn't even blink at this journey all the way there and all the way back. We wouldn't be charging at all. So those 27 kilowatt hours would be in the car battery already, not coming from a public charger. Anyway, I thought I'd give you that update, and I'll update you again as we pass the next charger. So join us now on the A151. We have turned off the A17, so we've turned off the sat-nav route that was estimated for us, and we're now diverting to an Instavolt charger slightly off route. And we're doing that just to add the extra contingency earlier on, so that we're not ever going to get down to 10, 20 miles and wonder what if and all those sort of things, and not going to be concerned about the weather, which has rained, not rained. It's very changeable today. Anyway, now we've turned off though and set the sat-nav to this other Instavolt charger. It's actually knocked 5 miles off the journey. So although the range difference now between what the car says and what the sat-nav says is to our destination, the difference is 25 miles we have spare now. So our spare contingency's gone up because the trip distance has come down. So yeah, this route is no doubt a slower route, and that's why sat-nav wasn't taking us this way to start with. And yeah, as you can see, it's 30 and 40 miles an hour limits, so 5 miles less but slower. That'll be good for efficiency, won't it? So this is good news. Less miles to go, greater efficiency, higher charging speeds. Actually, it makes sense to go the slower route, and we should still arrive same sort of time, no issue to us, just a lot more relaxed. That's the plan anyway. We'll keep an eye on the miles to go and the miles on the car and see if it gets worse or better. Definitely talked that up, didn't I? Here comes the rain again. Okay, arrived at the charger, 38% state of charge. It says, I wish the car would tell us that, but thankfully the Instavolt charger does, and we're charging at 38 kilowatts. So that's perfect. Time remaining 40 minutes. Well, we're not going to be charging all the way to 100%. As soon as it drops down below, say 36 and into the 20s, we'll unplug and away we go. So here we are at the Instavolt charger. We've now got 94 miles of range. It's getting quite close. It's gone really quick for us to unplug and be on our way. But before we do, I just thought I would add that if I wanted to, I could make this video into a bit clickbaity, couldn't I? I could add a title of EV charging from hell, and we could have set off with 90 or 95% charge. We could have put a foot down to 70 miles an hour. I think with the destination of 110 miles, we could have got very close to the 110 mile range of the car and got down to very low percentages and added a bit of stress and drama to the video, as some people do. You know, the Daily Fail, the Telegraph, and all sorts of other people that do EV failing videos. It is just clickbait. It is just wanting you to click the videos. Nothing about the reality of owning an electric car. This is more like the reality. It's just be relaxed, know your car, and it's not difficult at all. It is stress-free, and there isn't any need for this clickbait rubbish. So I don't know whether I'll put that in the title, EV driving from hell and how to avoid it. I'm not sure whether I'll do that. I'll make the title up later. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that this journey could have been very, very different. I could have deliberately made it lots more stress if I wanted to. And please remember that when you're watching other videos about EV driving. They deliberately make them stressful. Okay, there we go. It's just dropped below 30 kilowatts, so now I'm going to unplug. And that little charge was £11.98, 75 pence a kilowatt hour, but just under 16 kilowatt hours added. So that's our first charging session ended. I think it was just under 16 kilowatt hours we added, so that's more than half the energy we need for our entire journey. So we're not going to need any more than the same amount of stop on the way back as well. So as soon as the charge rate dropped below 30, I was then quite happy to unplug. I could have made it absolutely optimum, and as soon as we'd got below 35, I could have unplugged, but the extra 2, 3, 4 kilowatts, I'm not too worried about that. I just didn't want it to be really slow. So anyway, we set off with 115 miles of range and 25 miles to our next charging destination. So we'll have 90 miles of range on the car when we actually reach the next charger, which means it'll only be a splash and dash just to top up. We won't need very much at all, if any. We could just delay and not bother now and just do what we're going to do during the day and charge on the way home. We could come back to the same charger. So now by charging early, we've got options, and that's what I like with planning our journeys. I don't like having to keep to a schedule, having to keep to a certain charging destination. I like to keep it fluid and flexible, and just make it really relaxed, so we've got options depending on what happens during the day. Anyway, there you go. Next update as soon as we arrive at another charger. Well, that was an eventful 10 or 15 minutes coming out of Spalding. I directed Susan in the wrong direction, and we've added 5 miles to our journey. But not to worry, readjustment, checking the map, and we're back on track. We've arrived at Colsterworth on the A1, more Instavolt chargers at McDonald's. The car is charging again. We don't really need the charge. We could just go to where we're going, which is Croxton Kerrial. We could turn around and come back this evening and make it, not home, but we could make it comfortably to other chargers. And we could have not charged at Spalding. We could have gone on and charged here in the first place. So lots of choices. In hindsight, yeah, we should have just carried on and come here. We would have had plenty of miles and lots of contingency. But as a matter of practice, I just don't do that. I don't run the car to very low levels and arrive at the charger hoping everything's going to be okay. I don't mind that we wasted a few minutes charging a little bit earlier. But we've actually got 10-15 minutes spare before we're due to start at the dog show, so why not just add a little bit more charge as well, because if we're adding it now while we're not doing anything, we haven't got to add it on the way home. So that's all we're doing. We didn't need the charge. This is just convenience to save us charging later on. Anyway, we'll be here probably only 5 minutes, I think, maybe even 10 at maximum, and then we're heading off. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I'm not going to show you all the charging on the way home, but we've now got lots of options. We've got 79 miles of range. It is 10, 20, 130 miles in total to get back home. So we need to add at some point 50 miles of range again, and that will do us. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it helps some people considering going electric or new going electric to work out some of the things you can do and not do. You've got lots of choices, and it's about working out those choices and giving yourself options, not leaving it to the last minute. That's my thoughts anyway. Take care. See you again soon for more videos. Bye for now.